Everyone. I'm really excited to be here to talk to you about blogging and to obviously celebrate Women in Tech Nottingham's birthday. I just wanted to say thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited to be here. I think also let's address the elephant in the room. This is such a weird experience for all of us, and I usually like giving talks in person so you can see all of my like enthusiastic hand gestures, but for now this should do. Anyway, let's get to the talk. So today I'll be sharing my biggest passion in life, and that is blogging. We'll be running through the impact of blogging, my story with blogging, and how you can get started. That's my detail there on the screen if you want to live tweet my talk. So yeah, let's get started. So just a bit about me. Hi, I'm Pauline. I'm a blogger and I blog at pauline.com, and that's spelled Pawlean. That's super clever, right? Just to play off my name. And yeah, I've been writing on there and like converting my thoughts into pixels since I was 8. And we'll get into how I started in just a bit. During the day, I'm a digital engineering graduate at BT. Currently, I'm working in the consumer division where I'm on my final rotation of my graduate scheme. I've done like different rotations between different teams in infrastructure, architecture, and development. And now I'm in the wonderful area of SRE, site reliability engineering, and I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm also a huge feminist and equality advocate in tech. I've also worked with like several different women in tech communities during my time in Sheffield and even now in Leeds. I had to put this photo up because it is my favourite time of my life so far ever. This was when I was back in Sheffield. I was a university student there, teaching girls how to code with the wonderful community of Code First Girls. I used to love my stickers, and if we were giving out stickers today, I'd give you loads of random stickers that I randomly have around my flat. But yeah, so yeah, that was one of my favorite times, and yeah, Code First Girls are amazing. So yeah, I'm pretty much everywhere. But yeah, that's me. So let's get into blogging. What is it? So as you can see from the summary, a blog is a discussion or like published on the World Wide Web consisting of informal diary-style text entries. And I think I like to describe blogging as pretty much nowadays like Twitter threads, but a lot better. I think there's also been sort of like a rise in microblogging because like social media just makes it so easy to do. And that's okay. I do this all the time on Twitter and on Instagram. If you follow me on there, you'll know I always write super long captions where I can, or ranting like on Twitter threads. And it's really great. And it's great, you know, that social media's enabled everyone to sort of have like that set platform to start sharing their thoughts. But for me, I still gravitate more towards blogging. Sometimes I like writing a really long Twitter thread or an Instagram post, and then I make it into a more structured, more concise blog post. So yeah, today when I'm talking about blogging, I'll be focusing specifically on blogging and not micro blogging. And also I'll be focusing on more of a personal style towards blogging because it's grown so much over the years, as I'm sure you're all aware. How did I get started with blogging? Let me share with you my origin story. So I think every great origin story starts with the best gifts. So in 2004, I used to play a game called RuneScape. And for those who don't know, it's an online game where you basically go around and complete different types of quests. I used to be super obsessed with it, and this is actually playing this game actually started my tech and blogging journey. So I used to love this game so much that I wanted to change bits of it because I thought that it was just a bit too much sometimes, and I wanted to change, like, I don't know, how the castles looked or what the forests looked like and stuff like that. So I was like, I want to recreate this game but make it even better. And since the game was hosted on a website, I was like, okay, I need to start there by learning how to make a website. So from there, I've sort of found my passion for website development. I started to ditch the game development idea and shifted my focus on my next biggest passion, and that is High School Musical. I know everyone has had that phase, so please don't tell me you didn't have that phase, because it was the best phase ever. This actually led to like a rise of me making several different High School Musical fan sites where, you know, I'd write about the actors, about the behind the scenes footage that I saw online, and just generally sharing my love for High School Musical to the world. And in addition to that, I started making these things called blends, which were basically a blend of different celebrities in an image. And these were sort of the main images that I'd use to style my websites. And a year or so after that, I got into creating really personal websites. So these were just sites about me and my life growing up. I'd write entries about my days at school, about what blends or graphics I created, about the boys I had crushes on, and generally every thought that was in my head. An online diary, if you will. I didn't know at the time, but this was blogging. This is actually a screenshot of one of my welcome sections from my old blog, where I mostly wrote about the graphics I made. If you're not embarrassed for me, you should be, because that's super embarrassing. But yeah, so I blogged for a couple of years throughout my school life, but I took a break in between like my A-levels and getting to university, because I think my parents thought that I was spending too much time online, which I probably was. But yeah, after feeling a little inspired, after one of my first year university lectures, where like one of my lecturers threw a jar of like Drosophila in the crowd. Don't ask me why. I did biomedical science, so there was just loads of weird stuff that happened. But yeah, so after I had that experience, I was like, I would love to share like this story outside of like social media. I just wanted to like write about my day and how I didn't expect that to happen. So yeah, in around 2015, I decided to start up my my blog again. Had a whole like brand refresh, which is more that reflects more about me right now. So yeah, I blog now at Pauline.com, writing about all sorts of different things, literally everything and anything I can think about. These are just some examples that you can find in my archive pages. So when I got back to the blogosphere, is what they call it, blogging sphere, there was like a shift from personal blogging to niche blogging, like fashion blogging, tech blogging, beauty blogging. And like I think a lot of people, when you ask about starting up a blog, a lot of like, you know, personal brand experts or people who like specialize in that space will always tell you that you need to focus to create a successful blog. You need to focus on a niche and then build up on your following and your hits. But like for me, blogging is more than just the amount of views I get each month. And I think it is really important to like bear that in mind, because yeah, there is a lot of pressure for you to create a blog that is very focused on one thing, but in actual fact, your blog can be whatever you want it to be. I like to think of myself as a nicheless blogger with like personal blogging at the heart of everything. This is the sort of the type of post that you can expect from me. Embarrassing stories about my failure at love. Yes, that is what I write about. This is actually one of my favorites. So it was like a throwback post that I wrote about how, for Valentine's Day actually, where I wrote about how I had a crush on a boy in my English class who I thought I was deeply in love with, and I took my chances during Valentine's Day. I bought him a wooden rose that they were giving out at school, and someone like delivered this wooden rose to this boy I had a crush on during like form, and I sort of like was behind the wall watching him like opening up and watching his reaction, and it turns out he hated it. And yeah, ever since then I just have trust issues. No, but so I share stuff like that, and it was really fun just to write about it. And I mean, at the time I was absolutely heartbroken, but like it's fun to think about and share now with other people. And this blog post actually inspired a lot of other people to talk about their failed rejections of people, of love and everything. So that was fun. That was really fun to write. So yeah, my blog isn't serious at all. It's always gonna have personal blogging at its heart. I hope that's given you a bit of a background on my journey into blogging, and now let's focus on why you should start a blog. Here are some of the reasons why I think you should start one today, and hopefully by the end of this I can convince you. So when you start a blog and you start to develop it, it truly becomes a place where you can show the world who you are. You can use this space to like build your personal brand. I don't really like that word, but I can't really think of a word to explain what I mean. But yeah, you can use it to build up your brand and show off who you are. So you can use it to show what you've learned recently, share your knowledge with others, and really showcase what your passions and interests are. There is like so much power in the documentation of like progress. When people see progress and like how you started to learn how to code and where you are now, it's super inspiring. So yeah, it's a really good place for you to share that. And this all could really lead to so many like positive things. I never thought that my blog would open up so many opportunities for me, but it really has. So for some examples, I've been able to collaborate with loads of different brands and companies that I love and secure work that I've always dreamed of. So for example, when I started talking and speaking up about my blog a bit more people started visiting, and then they'd share it with other people, and this led me during my university days to I secured a web development role because I could showcase that I could build websites, but also I could showcase that I was a good communicator. So I actually ended up getting a vlogging gig from this. I used to walk around like university with a camera showing new students what they can expect from going to the University of Sheffield. It was very fun. And I also was like a content creator for the uni because again I could show that I could literally write content about anything, and they really enjoyed that. So that was really fun. But also my blog has been has given me the ability to talk about it at interviews, and this has really been good for me personally and professionally, because when I was like interviewing for my role at BT, I remember I talked about my blog, showcased like I'm really interested and passionate about tech even though I don't have a tech background, and I think I'm not sure if they looked at my website or read my blog, but I think it was a really good way to contribute to like my overall online presence. I also got invited to several podcasts and radio features because people were sharing my blog around the world, around the UK, and because of that, people started to sort of know who I am and what I stand for. So whenever there was a specific topic that a radio show wanted to talk about, like imposter syndrome or blogging, they would come to me and be like, you've written like a few posts about this, can you talk about it? And yeah, so it was just fantastic opportunities. And also speaking, like I don't think I would have like spoken at several different events, and including this one, if like I didn't have that online presence where like my blog was literally at the heart of it. So all of those opportunities. And yeah, that's pretty much all from my blog. I think that's pretty powerful. Number 2, your blog can be used as a tool to pay it forward and give back to the communities you care about. So one of my blogging goals and aims and values, if you like, was to inspire by what I share and what I talk about. Whether I wanted to sort of inspire people to, write a blog themselves or start a podcast or start prioritizing their health or go after their dream career, learn something new. And I think like I've had the opportunity to use that platform I've created over the years to really reach people and motivate them to do what they've always wanted to do. And I think like you don't really know who you'll be helping by sharing your thoughts, by sharing your story, sharing your knowledge. And I didn't really understand this until my blog started gaining a bit of attraction. And then people started reaching out to me saying like, this is fantastic, you've inspired me to do this, I got my dream job as a software engineer because you talked about how I can learn how to code. And it feels really good to like have the opportunity to give back to other people, and have like my blog at the center of that. It's fantastic. So it is a good opportunity to reach other people and help them remotely. When people talk about contributing to communities and helping build communities, I think a lot of people think about being there in person, and given our current circumstances, sometimes you can't do that. And like being able to have like a blog where people can go to and like read your blog posts and sort of find sort of like a community and help from there is just fantastic. So yeah, like I think that is one of the main reasons that you should start a blog. My third reason is that your blog can connect you with like-minded people. So I'll just give you a bit of a story. So before I started blogging, I never felt like I really fit in anywhere. And when I was growing up, I didn't really have many friends. So my hobbies of like building websites and, growing up online made me feel sort of like a weirdo. And even though I knew that it was making me happy, I didn't really want to speak up about it because I didn't want to already stand out and be that odd one out. And I think like that is one of the beauty of social media and blogging in general. But like my mum used to always say to me, don't speak to strangers online. But these strangers I spoke to and others I have since are the kindest, most wonderful, supportive friends I've ever made. And, for the first time ever, when I was speaking to and connecting to these people, I didn't feel weird about my hobbies or my interests. And for once, they made me feel like I was normal. So to this day, after like blogging for so long, I still connect with some incredible people. And together, we've built such a strong, supportive network that's really improved my life personally. So I think it is a really important aspect as to a reason why you should start a blog. And meeting these people in person was even better, and I'm glad I've had the opportunity to do that throughout my travels around the world. And yeah, you just basically create the best of friends online. Everyone's super nice. At number 4, so owning a blog is such a great way to enhance your skills in communicating and writing, editing, copywriting, editing photos, content creating, and overall makes you more creative. And all these skills are great to build up, and I think it's a good, your blog sort of becomes a portfolio almost to show others that actually you're good at communicating concepts, you're very creative, you can show off like your photo editing skills and stuff like that. So I personally found that blogging has helped me write at work, has helped me a lot at work, because now I write very long and detailed PRs that everyone in my team loves. So final reason why you should start a blog is arguably the most important one, and that is just for fun. Blogging, once you get into it, is so much fun, and personally I find it one of the most therapeutic activities, and something I always look forward to doing every single week. I enjoy the whole writing process, editing process, and adding all the pictures, videos, GIFs to my posts. So definitely make sure that like when you start a blog, you must enjoy the process. And don't get too caught up in the fact that you need like all these visitors, audience, need to write for this, write for that. Just do it for yourself. Have I convinced you yet? Cool. This is how you can get started. So to start, you need a platform to blog on. There's lots of different platforms out there, from WordPress, Medium, Blogger, and so much more to choose from. So definitely have a look around and see what works for you. I personally love WordPress, mainly because I've used it, and although it can be sort of clunky sometimes, it does the job really well, and it has done for years for me. I get asked a lot about my theme and my design, and this could be a whole different talk altogether. But for me, I wanted to create my content to make sure that it stands out the most. So having a really simple and clean design was my thinking behind my current design that I've had for about 4 years now. I wrote a blog post about how I recently revamped my theme, which I can share with you all later. So now you've got your blog up and running, you've got a theme that you love, but now it's time to actually write. This is definitely the most difficult part of this whole process. But after years of blogging myself, I still have moments where I really don't know what to write, and I have that horrid writer's block. These are sort of some of the questions I like to ask myself to help me to write, and personally it's what's worked for me over the years. So the first one is remembering why I started the blog in the first place. For me, this links in with my blogging values. I started my blog because I wanted a space to share, to inspire, share to help, and share for me. It can be so easy, like I said, to get caught up with the pressures that you need to write something perfect, which not only like leads you to not write anything, but makes you feel unmotivated in the long run. I think but having values and a statement as to why you started can really help you get into the right mindset. Second thing I like to ask myself is, what do you enjoy writing? Again, it's really easy to start thinking that your blog is mostly for other people to read, and I'm sure that could be a huge part of why you started in the first place. Like that's one of my reasons as well, but there needs to be something for you too. So if you want to write about like whatever's on your mind, then feel free to do it. It doesn't always have to be audience led. It doesn't always have to be content for other people. It could just be for you, just to write because you want to. Another thing is, what do you enjoy reading from others? And I think this is why I love connecting with other bloggers and reading other blog posts, because it's a great way to get some inspiration. But I always strive to get inspiration as well from others, but also from experience. We all have very unique experiences, and sharing, writing about them, even if they're similar, is so valuable. Everyone has a unique perspective to share. So how do I write? I just wanted to quickly go through my workflow. So I have an idea, I write it down, like normally in bullet point format. I start creating a structure, then I write. I make some edits, I reread it because I always make errors. There's probably loads of errors on my blog currently that's already live. But yeah, it's important to go through and edit sentences and stuff. And then I publish. You can do this daily, weekly, monthly, completely up to you. Personally, I like to blog every week because, like I said, blogging isn't just to create content for other people, but it's also for me to sort of gather my thoughts and to have that space for me to be creative. And finally, I just want to quickly talk about audience. I've touched on the fact that this shouldn't be a main focus because at the end of the day, the most important thing is that you enjoy what you're doing. But for those who have an interest in building up a bit of an audience, these are some of the things you could think about. Think about who your audience are. So who are you targeting? It might be for your blog as a whole, or maybe a niche for a post. So follow these people on social media because people who have similar interests to you will definitely click it. And don't be afraid to share your posts with like those people and groups and communities that are interested in that niche or that area. So like a quick example is that whenever I used to write about blogs, and I still do, about women in tech or coding or learning how to code, I like to share this with like women in tech communities I'm part of. So like Code First Girls, empowering women with tech, and Twitter in general, because my feed is mostly women in tech. So I like sharing it with those people. And another related point to audience, regardless if you want to build up your audience or not, is don't be ashamed to share what you've written. This is something I've gotten better at with time, and like I truly understand how scary it can be to begin with, but it's so important to share what you've written and created. My top tip: schedule blog posts and even like the tweets or social media communications for it. That way you can never really click the publish button or like share it out to social media. So yeah, very important to take pride in your work because you spend some time writing it. You should definitely share it with other people because it is valuable. To summarize, remember to answer why you wanted to start the blog in the first place, and maybe create some values that you can always look back on to remind you why you wanted to write in the first place. Also, remember that blogging has multiple benefits, so it allows you to show off your work, connect with others, and it's so therapeutic once you get into it. And don't forget to share your blog with pride. You've done a lot of work writing, editing, and making sure that is like the best it can be. So definitely don't be shy to share it with other people and get them to read it. With that in mind, go and read my blog. Thank you so much for listening.